In the last video, SHMEE 150 came in for an incredible audio system installed onto his SLS Black series, and in today's episode we are going to be fine-tuning it to get that perfect sound for him.
This is now the perfect solution in the SLS.
Before we get into today's video on SHMEE'S SLS Black series, I want to talk to you guys about something that happened a couple of years back. If you've been following the whole journey of SHMEE 150's SLS Black series with us, you would know that this car came into us a couple of years ago. However, it's been off the road for a long time. Basically what happened, the car came into us, we did most of the install. SHMEE 150 during lockdown and stuff got stuck abroad, and basically we parked up the car. We came to move the car in a couple of weeks later after not using it or not touching it, and basically the vehicle wouldn't start. The car did develop a fault while it was with us in our workshop facilities, however, had nothing to do with our install or anything our team did with the car. But because of all the problems the SLS Black series had while it was with us, it needed to go away, leave our workshop to be repaired. But the car is finally back because we actually never properly tuned the car and we never really checked over the install as a final thing. So that's why SHMEE 150 is back, dropping the car over to us, and today's video, we're finally gonna tune it and share that entire journey with you. I hope you enjoy. Let's get on with today's video. So this is our setup. The task today is to tune the SLS Black series owned by SHMEE 150, but to be able to do that, we need to show you some of the equipment that we use to be able to achieve it. Firstly, we've got PC number 1. This is going to be basically like our ears. It's called an RTA, which is a real-time analyzer of what's going on inside the car being played. PC number 2 is actually going to be allowing us to basically edit that, manipulate frequencies going on in the car and make it sound inch perfect, plus do a load more, which we'll show you later on. Then we've got a few other bits of kit here. So this is the microphone setup. So there's 5 microphones that are going to be listening to the internals of the car, and that's what kind of links into PC number 1. So they're kind of linked together, and that is going to show us what those microphones are listening to. Then we've actually got the BitTune box itself. This is going to have microphones connected into it. So I'm going to be jumping inside the car now, showing you how we set it all up. So firstly, I'm going to be setting up the microphone. So that involves going around. Obviously this being a left-hand drive car, so we've got a little bracket that sits onto here that just clips over onto there. So the reason why we've done that is because that then puts us directly where we need to be in terms of the listening position of where basically your ears are. And this is then another microphone that we're going to be plugging in. So this goes actually over both headrests itself. So, right, so that's the microphones now set up. So we need to connect both these connectors into the BitTune kit. So first we need power, the USB connection, first microphone, which is the HSM level and polarity mic. So that is all the connectors we're going to be using for the time being. So that's just going to rest now on the actual seat itself, and then we're going to head over and connect it up to the PCs. So what this is basically on PC number 1 is an RTA. You see all of the blue stuff moving up and down here. That is actually pink noise being played inside the vehicle with all the doors closed. Then what we've got is a target goal. So the goal is actually this orange line that runs from side to side from 20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz, which is basically the spectrum of sound that you can hear. As you can see, our blue lines that's playing the pink noise in the car as it is not quite perfect. We've got a couple of gaps here and there. So that moves us on to using the next bit of software to correct those and bring everything as close as possible to that target curve. So let's try and bring this all down to that target curve. Let's start with the lower frequencies, so mostly from the subs. So we've got 2 subs in the car behind on that rear shelf, completely hidden. So at the moment they're running from about 80 Hertz down. So as you can see, it's above that target curve. So as I basically, when you see, if I drop this down, you'll actually see it being affected on the RTA in real time. So you can see literally everything dropping off as we go. So it looks like we need to, so we've pulled it down a little bit too far there, so we want to pull it up slightly just so we're kind of hitting that curve perfectly. And it's very, very important when this is all done, it's very quiet in the area as well, so that's why I'm not talking as I'm doing it. Right, so that's brought down between the 25 hertz and the kind of 50 hertz mark. I think that's pretty much perfect for what we need, but it's still a little bit high towards that higher end mark. So we'll try pull that down slightly, but that is leaning now into the mid bass frequency. So we'll move over to these now. So roughly here at around about sort of 100 hertz or so, we've got a little bit of a peak. So we can pull the 100 hertz mark down just slightly, and you're doing this gradually, so it's getting everything to lean perfectly into that curve. You will never get it exact because obviously your car's interiors go inside, there's all sorts of stuff going on, but it's getting it as close as we basically possibly can, and then we fine tune it by ear to bring in that warmth and a bit of spice of sound in as well. So I'm happy with that. So now this is where a lot of the problems are. So you've got quite a large gap between that 250 hertz mark to around about 1.6. So that's a little bit of a crossover between different frequencies and different speakers, the mid bass, the mid range, and the tweeters. So we're gonna pull up the frequencies at around about sort of the 250 to 500 hertz mark and see how this comes in. So this is all a lot of kind of just trying to reach that target curve, and then we fine tune it by ear. So this isn't how the final results of the EQ will actually land, but gives us a good starting point on a kind of scientific level. So we can drop off those tweeters a little bit. So now we've got that target curve pretty much flat. This is best way to describe it is a bit like plain food. You don't want to be eating that, you don't want to be listening to that. So what we need to do is add some spice, add all those herbs, mix it all together, and that's where we're going to be sitting inside the car and doing that fine tuning. So join me, we'll jump in now. Tuning on SHMEE 150's SLS Black series. With this, we take his favourite songs and really tighten down on the acoustics of his favourite genre to make the car sound amazing. So, we are finished. The car sounds absolutely incredible. It's all tuned, all finished, done and dusted, another one complete. Unfortunately, I wasn't here to hand it over to SHMEE 150, but let's see what he has to say about it.
I'm back here then at Cambridge Car Audio, and the guys have upgraded the Android Auto CarPlay system to work with an optical cable, which means that the quality is fantastic, but also the fine-tuning of the audio, because this is, I think, quite a personal thing, but for me, they've done exactly what I was hoping to get out of the system, and inside here, it's such a discreet and clean install. You know, we've got the tiny tweeters just at the bottom of the A-pillars, the subs are all hidden away behind the backboard. This is now the perfect solution in the SLS, and just listening to it in here sounds unreal. The sound quality is so, it's hard to explain, I think, from a, let's say, an amateur audiophile standpoint as opposed to being an expert, but the difference is that you can have the volume up high and still hear what else is going on, still have conversations. It's just that extra clarity to it that you don't get with a standard system, that you would just never, ever be able to get. And now we've got all of this set up. You know, for me, for a car like this that I love driving, I bought this car on 10,000 kilometers because it was an import car a couple of years ago. It's now on about 35,000 kilometers. I love driving it. Not having things like Android Auto were a bit of a frustration for me because I like to travel long distances. So to have all of these upgrades now just makes this the ultimate. It's perfect.
So next we're heading over to the SHMEE'S. However, that is for the next video. We're going to be listening to the car with SHMEE 150 plus seeing an insane collection of cars. So stay tuned, smash that subscribe button, see you on the next one.